All right, welcome back. Today, House lawmakers are expected to vote on a controversial bill that could change how traffic laws are enforced in the district. The bill, called the Stop DC Camera Act, would ban automated traffic enforcement across the city. Now, supporters of the bill argue the current system prioritizes revenue over public safety, but Mayor Bowser says the cameras play a critical role in reducing dangerous driving. So joining us now live to talk through this is Joel Mumford, a lawyer with the firm The Ticket Clinic, who has extensive experience trying cases involving traffic camera enforcement. Sir, thanks so much for being with us here this afternoon.
Thank you.
And first, let's just get your legal take on this proposal and potential impacts for DC drivers.
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, I kind of side with the side where it says it's kind of a money grab. A lot of cities and counties, cities and municipalities in Florida here they've put away their red light camera programs because there's been so many legal issues that arise and so many kind of unfairness issues that come from it. They've decided to kind of put those away, even though they were getting extensive revenue from them. I'm not sure exactly. I can't really comment exactly about DC's area specifically, the legal aspects of it. But I will say that it seems to me that it kind of is almost permitting people to violate the laws. They have as long as they have the money to do so and just keep on driving, which to me would indicate it's a bit of a money grab.
And you try these cases in the courts. What are some of the challenges that drivers raise?
A lot of the challenges that we raise are burden of proof issues. Can they prove who the actual driver was? Can they prove that they actually ran the red light itself? Was all their equipment set up with in respect to the proper parameters? Did they have the proper documents submitted? And with respect to self-authenticating documents, have those been submitted properly so that all the boxes can be checked? But the most recent court opinion in Broward County really helps us a lot, to go a long way to trying to get these things thrown out as it kind of turns the burden back on the state.
Yeah, talk about that ruling in Broward County where the judge dismissed a red light camera ticket, saying the law may violate the Constitution. Expand on that case for us a little bit, and even the potential impact that could have in other parts of the country, including here in D.C., Maryland, Virginia.
Right. So our Florida court, one of our Florida courts, is a county court judge that made the decision. So it's just binding right now with that county court judge. However, once we get an appellate decision made by what's called a Florida District Court of Appeal, then as long as there's no other ones in a direct contradiction, which I don't think at this point there would be, then it could be potentially law all across the state of Florida. And how it could be also used in D.C. is that this ruling that came out by Judge Luca here in Broward County, what came out and said essentially that, these red light camera proceedings are quasi-criminal, which means they are kind of criminal in nature because the Florida statutes say and rules of procedures indicate that the state has to prove beyond and to the extent of each and every reasonable doubt all the elements of the charge, mainly identity of driver. The problem with the Florida statute and many other statutes across the country is it just assumes that the owner of the vehicle is the driver. So it basically kind of flips the burden of proof. And that's impermissible. That's not constitutional. The state, pursuant to the Constitution, has the burden of proof to prove all the elements of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. And basically this case is, it's only persuasive, which means it's not binding on really, any extensive geographical area. However, this case also relied on a Minnesota case and I believe a Missouri case. They came out and, essentially said the same thing a number of years ago. And it's good to have judges, making these decisions that are, I would say, supporting the Constitution, supporting the right that the defendants have to have the state prove all these elements beyond a reasonable doubt, which is what they're supposed to be doing.
And, to play devil's advocate on the other side of this, we know technology can be helpful in providing eyes where there are none, when there maybe aren't enough officers to patrol streets, to make sure drivers are being safe and practicing and following the rules of the road. In your opinion, is there a better balance that can be struck aside from a full ban?
Well, here's the issue with it. In order to do that, in my opinion, you'd have to have evidence that can show who the exact driver is. There are some technologies that can prove that, but I, for some reason, have not seen them introduced in a way that I think is acceptable in court. Because you actually have to go through, obviously, the windshield to see who that person is, and oftentimes, let me give you another example. If you have a case in Florida, if you have what's called a careless driving ticket issued to you because you get involved in a crash, you have to go to court, and we set it for a trial, and then the officer has to come in and prove identification of the driver. If he can't identify the driver, or no witnesses can identify who the driver is, we win the case. Now the problem is that in order to prove who the driver is, you usually have to look at their ID. You can't just say, oh, that looks like John Smith. It looks like his ID, but maybe it's John Smith's brother or his cousin or whoever. You didn't actually ask for a license. You didn't ask for anything. And the proof is beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not, presumption. There's nothing like that. It's not, it's the highest standard of proof in trial. So that's as good as it gets.
Interesting point you raise. I know we've covered cases of people in a stolen vehicle racking up tickets in someone else's name, which is exactly what you're saying here. Lawyer Joel Mumford with the Ticket Clinic. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here on WJLA 24/7 with your insight.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Have a great day.
Of course. Have a great day. And stay